What is going on, everyone? I am Rob.
I am Eamon.
Damn, son. Eamon, would you believe that's another mini fuzz?
Another mini fuzz. People see behind the scenes, we messed up the intro and we have to do it again. Yeah. But you don't need to worry about that because of this professionalism that we have.
It gets tricky, Eamon, when you have to press record on 3 devices now.
When it was 2, it was fine. Now yeah, 3 is like...
Now it's getting high stakes.
33.3% chance of something going wrong.
Yeah. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a good day. This is the last time we're going to say it. We'll see you in Scotland very soon, folks. As we've said before, the 15th, the Ben Nevis hike. We're just going to talk a little bit about that hike here, just to let people know what to expect if you're joining us. It does look like the forecast on the day isn't too bad as far as Ben Nevis goes. Keep in mind, there's 4 days of the year where it's actually clear on the summit of Ben Nevis. It's not too bad, and what I mean by not too bad is a week ago there was snow and hail on the summit. And like people were talking about fucking crampons and shit, like right. it was like that up there. So it was like yeah. So the good news is it doesn't appear that is going to be the case, but it does appear like we will need to be dressed for rain and lots of it. What I'm going to say to anyone that is joining us is it will be fairly extreme weather. You will get wet and it will be extreme weather. It's going to be a slog. But just prepare accordingly. Look up some guides on YouTube. Look at all that stuff. Again, me and Eamon, we're not tour guides. We've never hiked this mountain. We don't know what to expect. So do your homework and, hopefully we'll all have a safe hike and a good hike. It's going to be fucking, serious enough shit now, but we're hoping to have a good hike out there. Emo.
Yes.
Oh, actually, before we switch on, I'm just going to say as well, Drumnadrochit on the Sunday. The
16th,
hike.
Yeah. 15th is the hike, 16th is the drink.
But I'm just wanting to say as well, the time that we're meeting up for the hike is 8:30 in the Glen Nevis Visitor Centre car park, or Ben Nevis Visitor Centre car park. I think the name is interchangeable. 8:30, that's when we're going to meet, and we're going to be leaving at 8:30. That's the time we're going to be moving up the mountain. Didn't want to leave too early simply because we've never hiked it before. It's always a good idea, if you're not familiar with the route, not to be the first ones trying to get up the mountain. You have people that you can kind of see and see what the crack is. So
we're treating it like a working day.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the meet up in Drumnadrochit is going to be a little bit more cash. The time for that haven't yet decided. We'll wait and see. But yeah, we'll be meeting up there. It probably will be in the AM, early PM. And it's going to rain both days. So the Scottish hospitality is coming out for us, and they're rolling out the red carpet.
Yeah. Well, they're giving us a real taste of Scotland, I suppose. But now, to be fair, when it is raining heavy on the Loch of Ness, you'd imagine that might make some visual disturbance. So maybe we'll see our old friend, or maybe we'll think we see our own friend. I know Sturgeon going by. Nicholas Sturgeon could be out there going by,
Nicholas Sturgeon.
Sturgeon.
We're not afraid of a bit of rain here, folks, because we're Irish. So yeah, look forward to seeing you all there. A quick reminder as well, this is all made possible by our lovely patrons, and the patrons have funded. Got a GoPro to vlog the whole trip, so we're going to do a long ass video for the whole trip. So thanks for that, guys. If you want to head on over there, you get ad-free episodes, you get exclusive episodes, and all of that jazz. Access to our Discord, and we're also going to be aiming recording a lot of episodes while we are in Scotland.
There's a high chance of me and Rob pissed in Scotland talking absolute garbage to each other, which I'm looking forward to.
And we're going to try and actually bring the video element too. So we're going to try and do the full thing as on site. So it should be quite interesting, but that'll all be over on Patreon as well as it happens. We're thinking maybe Scottish ghost stories at some point or another too. Emma, if they have any cryptid encounters, maybe they've seen Loch Ness or any spooky experiences, where do they go?
Anything freaky that you want to tell us, lads, do write into monterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. That's monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. Montel Fuzz, who's some sort of talk show host. Monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. This week we have Nikki and we have Mike.
Yeah, we do.
Mike's written in before. Yeah. So, some good stuff there. They're the only 2 write-ins we have. So, the more you write in, the more we read out. Mm-hmm. So do it. Enjoy yourself. And That's all, really.
That is Montel Fuzz.
That is Montel Fuzz. Welcome to Montel Fuzz. Tonight we got Tina here, and she has seen some weird shit in her life.
I'm not ghosting shit. Do well on overwriting. We do appreciate
Montel Fuzz.
We have a bit of a story actually about this patron. First patron is Paddy. Big shout out to Paddy. Yep. So Paddy it was quite funny. It was like the first time we've been recognised in the wild, I suppose you could say. One of the lads was up in my house and took a picture of me while we were playing Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And he tagged me as Monster Fuzz. And Paddy's girlfriend seen it. And she was like, they said to my mate, like, Monster Fuzz.
Paddy loves Monster Fuzz.
Yeah, basically. And so she then signed Paddy up on Patreon. And I sent him a little shout out. We were supposed to do that together, forgot to say it to you.
Sure.
So sent him a little shout out. So big shout out to Paddy. Thanks very much for the support. And big bad Dave Baxter, I think he's back again. So I'm not going to...
right.
Dave, you've been with us. So
the old revolving door.
So, Eamon, Nikki writes in, this is a lovely little story. It's about synchronicity. We've had Nikki with us, I believe, from the Strange Familiars days, perhaps. Okay. So if you want to take this one away, Eamon, it's a really nice synchronicity story. And
nice synchronicity story.
I think some people will take something from it. And also, I would encourage people send in your own experiences if you've had something like this happen.
Okay. Hi guys, I was working in the kitchen and listening to the last mini fuzz and your chat about synchronicities, and then birds made a connection that I wanted to share. So for anyone who doesn't remember, we were just talking about the red robin was looking at me working on my garden, and before I knew it was folklore, I was always told that this was my grandfather who had passed away, and it's a very common Irish thing for anyone who didn't hear that. So it might be long, but I will try to keep it as brief as possible. About 70 years ago, my mum had some sudden internal complications and passed away after a few days. My brother was overseas on holiday and he tried to get back, but he didn't make it in time. I always wanted to have the time to chat with him about our experiences of those few days and to apologise for not being able to get in touch with him sooner than I was. That will come around later. The time that followed was very difficult as my husband, 3-year-old son, and I began a home building project. Living in a small RV in the backyard for half a year, then upon moving into the home, I found myself pregnant with my daughter, and with all that transition, I had no time to grieve the loss of my mum. After my daughter was born, a sort of traumatic birth with hospitalisation, etc., during her first year of life, I was suffering from postpartum depression and anxiety and decided to reach out for some help. The counsellor I spoke to, amongst other things, suggested giving myself a goal, something to look forward to.
Good advice.
I think so, yeah.
It's not a treat for yourself, something to spend your mental energy on.
It's all about the journey, not the destination. But in this case, it's about the destination.
Yeah. It is nice to have something to look forward to.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, even the goal, I think I'm glad to hear that Nikki's obviously got the help and seems... Well, I haven't read the finish this, but I'm assuming she's doing better now. But I think when you're in the dregs, it's like small goals, brush your teeth, whatever you can do to get yourself out of the bed. Wipe your arse. And some lads, even without bad mental difficulty, don't be wiping anyway.
We had more feedback about that from Big Gay Al, remember? Because Big Al's out in the streets. He's probably seen
lads that are saying it's gay to wipe your arse, which I was like, surely the most homosexual, the most hidden homosexual thing to do is to not wipe your arse for fear of you being gay.
It's just so
I thought, I couldn't believe that when I saw it.
It's hard to put any sort of logic on that act, because one would think if it was a closeted homosexual thing that they'd try and have a clean arse. Do you know?
I don't know.
It's just bizarre.
They're
to be fair, maybe they are using it as a kind of a force field to keep people away from their arse. Which
it will definitely work. That
I kind of understand that in a sense then, maybe if you're worried about it.
So maybe it's hyper straight. So I've totally taken this in wrong. It's actually the straightest thing you can do is have a shitty arse. And you bring the girl and she's like, do you think maybe you could clean your arse? No, who knows what's going to happen while I'm bobbing up and down on top of you. Sorry to fucking sully this story. We will continue. The goal I set was a trip with my brother to New York in a few months' time to see a play with your own Cillian Murphy.
Good old Cillian.
Good old Cillian. Looks like me ma. Yeah. Who will admit I had quite a crush on.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's true. That's very
handsome
man.
Man.
Very, very handsome. So the play was called Grief is the Thing with Feathers. Also an excellent book, by the way. I had heard about the play coming only to New York after its run in Ireland and the UK, and thought that was as good a goal as any. Absolutely. A day or two before boarding my flight, I was walking and came across a dead crow on the ground in front of me. Rare to see that. When I sat in the airport lounge the following day, I looked up at the wall to see a large painting featuring a massive crow. The play he and I were going to see was about a family dealing with the grief of suddenly losing their wife, mother, and they're visited by Crow, a human-like crow who appears and stays with the family until they've worked through their loss. When I returned from the trip, a couple of weeks later, a crow showed up at my dad's house. We called him Ivan, and he would sit on the hood of my dad's truck. Even as he would pull out of the drive, he'd ride for a bit before flying off, which is extremely rare for a crow. I had a picture of my son hand-feeding the bird some bread. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she actually did send in a picture of her son feeding this crow. Wow, it's a nice picture.
That's really cool. It hung around for days, not skittish of people at all. Finally, out of curiosity, I looked up the meaning of my mother's maiden surname. It means little raven in Basque. That's you can't really say much more than that, can you? Mm-hmm. My brother and I did get to have a good chat, and that time helped kickstart dealing with the grief from losing her and the depression and trauma from my daughter's birth. Happy to say my kiddo is healthy and well, and my brother and I are both doing fine. Needless to say, I'm an even bigger fan of corvids than I was before. I got one tattooed on my leg in memory of that. Take care, fellas. Cheers, Nikki. No. That's lovely, yeah. That's really nice. It's, yeah, like that kind of synchronicity stuff is what you like to see. You know? Yeah. It's really cool stories like that.
Meaningful synchronicities where you're like...
Yeah, and like it is, like even the fact that she looks into the mother's maiden name, which then says, like it's one thing if you see that before the fact... And it's almost then you're attracting it, or you're sorry, not attracting it. That's the wrong thing. You're it means more to you than you see when you see a crow. So like you're confusing coincidence for synchronicity. Yeah. Whereas this has this lovely, it has a lovely narrative that works the whole way through it. You know.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I suppose, and I think we mentioned it when we talked about that Robin story, where like. Is there some kind of way people can reach out to us from beyond via birds, because it seems to be a common one, but why birds, Eamon?
I think is it something to do with flight, do you think? Like that idea of heaven being up in the clouds somewhere and a bird sort of being amongst the clouds, so they would fly down from heaven and adopt the form of a bird.
Is it because they're one of the furthest away land creatures from humans that there can be, so they're like there's less chance of them really realizing what we're doing here if we get into a bird and show them a bit of a synchronicity or something happening, whereas we get into a monkey, he might actually tell them what's going on, like lads, I'm possessed, sign language and all, I'm possessed by your auntie.
Crows are fairly smart though. The crow could like spell out in pebbles. It might take pebbles,
yeah, they could do. I've seen crows do a lot of shit, man.
Yeah, no, I think it's just it's a really nice story, and I think part of it is like whether it's a synchronicity or not, and obviously we don't know any of this 100%. It certainly, it makes you feel nice to think of it this way, and to think that someone's with you. So I think the logical thing to do is to maybe just go with that feeling, because what harm does it do to anyone,
So I'll take away Mike Bracknell in a minute, but while I remember, so first off, we always want synchronicity stories. If you have any that are meaningful to you, this is how we, as a podcast, this is how we gather information and put stuff together, and then we can kind of collate, is that the right word? Put it all together and sort of draw some kind of conclusions, because if everyone is sending in similar things, you're like, maybe there is more to that than just face value, or something that you just look at and go, even that's weird.
Like we've looked, say, before at glitches in the Matrix,
that kind of thing,
and this stuff seems like, not that they're necessarily negative, because the glitches generally aren't, it's just something
fairly benign sort of,
whereas this seems to be like
definitely more meaningful,
like, something that's nice and meaningful. Like there was a Final Fantasy 7 shouts out. So we couldn't have synchronized that any better. But in the Japanese version, apparently you were able to bring Aerith back to life. Or whatever. In that version, and I'm just wondering, like, I know people, I think, in the European and the US versions tried to do that, thinking there was a way, because, you know, back then you'd hear like the Tomb Raider code, so there was like
Tomb Raider Diddy's code.
You know, so it's a funny thing you were trying to do it. And then Earth did come back recently for the remakes. That's not actually a good allegory at all.
Not really.
But the point is that these the point
is Final Fantasy's class.
Final Fantasy is very good, and your relatives coming back as crows is also pretty sick.
Right, so I've got, before I read this one here from Mike, I've got one for a friend of mine, personal friend of mine. You've met him, Mr. Jim. Shouts out Jim. He so basically he sent me a text message. I kind of woke up this morning kind of with one eye looking at this message going, fuck, what's this like? This sounds like worrying. Basically he said, right, and it's a fucking weird story, and I told you I'd wait until we recorded, because
as new to me as it is to ye.
So he was out last night late, and the reason I'm telling it on the podcast is because what I said to him was, you know, I'll put it out in the ether. Maybe people have had similar experiences and they can write in. He was out walking his dog. This was about 12 o'clock last night, you know, demonic witching hour time, getting up to it. And he said he was walking. I'll tell you exactly where he was walking. So, and I think we've walked along there shitting our kecks before as well. So for Wexford listeners, you know where Skullwara is, the roundabout there at the bottom of Skullwara? Do you know, like, Coolcott's Lane then that goes up the hill? So he was walking from the other side coming down.
Yes.
Pitch black. So for listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, it's kind of a very quiet little lane.
This is the one not towards the roundabout. If you're going towards the roundabout and towards Skullwara, it's to the right, and then it's the small little...
Yeah, like the hill, the big hill laney thing that goes...
Okay, sorry. I thought you meant right over to the right of that. There's another way you can take in over there. And there's like a smaller lane as well. Yeah,
see what you're doing now is you're just saying right at a place that has 4 turns, and I don't know what way you're facing.
So if you're walking down, the hill,
if you're walking down past Skullwara, right?
All right, so that's the other way. So then
straight ahead.
Left. You
go straight ahead,
right?
Yeah, and then you can go up that big hill.
Yes.
Yes. So he was coming down that way, pitch black,
and went to the right.
No, he was walking just through that lane. So from the roundabout
down
by the courthouse.
Yes.
Yeah, he was coming from the roundabout by the courthouse. This up that way, pitch black. So he said he was walking along, the dog stopped in its tracks and got down on prone.
That's never a good
right thing. Which is Weetabix. Got prone, and he said he kind of tried to tug it but it wouldn't move. And he said when he looked up, maybe I think I'm going to say from what he was describing, maybe 50 to 100 feet away, he's seen 2 figures walking across the road, but they were like, what fucking show did he describe them as? From something like, is it The Watchers from some show? Throw out a show for me. Bald guys with no eyebrows, kind of look like Men in Black almost.
Oh, from fucking Buffy the Vampire
No,
Slayer,
but kind of like them actually. Same kind of.
They were the
idea.
Gentlemen, so like dudes in suits with a bald head.
Yeah. So he said he's seen these 2 figures crossing the road. They didn't acknowledge him or anything like that. They were just walking across the road. He said they weren't really ghostly, but rather like felt like they were actual people, and then they just disappeared. But he said after he seen him, he said he was like completely overcome with emotion, and he was like crying without like actually, you know, getting into it. There was just like tears coming down. And he was just really hyped up, emotional. And the way that I kind of asked him was like after you punch a man in the head, not you're all like mad on.
Like all the adrenaline.
Like
the realization of what's happening.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, kind of like that like adrenaline dump kind of feeling where you're just like overcome with emotion. Real strange.
Will he be like a fella who'd be a bit spooky, like he'd have access to the spookiness?
Well, he's from Enniscorthy, so yes.
Well, everybody in Enniscorthy idles at about a 4 or 5 spookiness at minimum. Like
he's like a 5 on the spooky scale.
But like, would he be into like his spooky movies and his folklore and shit like that, like, or just a regular
he'd be into the same kind of shit we're into,
right? Yeah, because.
But no more so, I would not say. I would say like probably around the same level.
To be fair, like if you see 2 people that are dressed that way.
Like, and your dog stopping.
That's the part that really gets you.
So like that kind of cements something's going on.
So bald guys, pale.
I don't know if he said they were wearing hats or not. I'm not sure. But the reason I'm putting that out there is if anyone has seen it, because I was kind of saying it to him like shadow people, like, and he was like, no, not shadow people. These did seem like real entities.
Let me just see, because I know the gentlemen from Buffy, but they like look creepy.
Type in The Watchers and see a TV show, because it's one of them TV shows that I really should know. Fringe is a Fringe.
The Watchers, I see.
Yeah, that's it. Fringe.
All right, let me check that, because The Watchers is a movie that's about to come out, so I'm just getting with that stuff.
Maybe they're not even called
Fringe. That was one with Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue, Eamon. I'm not great with TV shows.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, they look like normal versions of the gentleman.
Yeah.
So they look like less creepy versions. Oh yes, they're still.
I thought Man in Black kind of style.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. They do look very Man in Blackish. So Michael Cerverus, and it's Fringe, so it probably is Men in Black adjacent in some way or another. Yeah,
it's an interesting story.
Yeah, really
if anyone has experienced anything like it, do send it in. We do love having them. monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. So Mike Bracknell writes in, "Hey up lads, it's your resident Yorkshireman here, Mickey Brack, aka Big Bad Bracknell, aka Squire to Sean Bastard Bean."
Oh, you bastard.
He's been listening since about 6 months after we started the pod, sure don't we know?
Lord.
And I've been hooked ever since. I've clocked in 16,995 minutes listening last year. Every time I had my earphones in, my ears were graced with both of your lovely dulcet tones. And I just wanted to say thank you both for all of the amazing work you do. It's massively appreciated. We do forget that sometimes, because like podcasting can be, aside from the writings we get, a lot of the time it's kind of like you don't really hear much, so you're just kind of pottering away. You're just kind of you're like, just pottering away. So it's nice to get the feedback, and we kind of forget that sometimes, that people are listening from all over the fucking place. We got a writing today from like Ontario, I think. That'll be in next week's episode. Yeah,
cool. 17,000 minutes.
Yeah, mad. Sound good. So due to some prior commitments, I won't be able to make Loch Ness. You will be missed, but he will be there in spirit. Tell Eamon to have a drink or 12 for me, and I will 100% be there on your next UK meetup.
Now I have to have 12 drinks, so someone will have to get me a taxi home.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it'll probably be Scafell Pike in 2025. But I am writing in to tell you about an insanely realistic and lucid dream I had literally last year, Friday the 7th of June, because it was so completely batshit crazy and real. It seemed too good not to share. The dream consisted of myself and you lovely chaps in a kebab shop in my native Yorkshire. Nice.
That sounds pretty sick. I'd like that.
However, the kebab shop also had a casino attached to it for some reason. Nice. What more could you want, really? Like,
stop getting donor sauce on the... Donner sauce. Richard Donner sauce.
I had to retire from kebabs. Like, kebabs are one of them things that was like a forcible... It was like Chocolate L in the UFC, like getting knocked out against CTE every time. That was like me with kebabs. We got
the big one from Zam Zam a while ago, right? And like, the regular one is €11. The big one is $11.50.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it could be bigger. It literally looks like John Carpenter's kebab. Like, it's just... It's delicious, first of all.
I can't believe you're eating out Zam Zam in 2024.
Man, I've already told you, Zam Zam's been shut down 3 times and it keeps reopening, and it inspires me. It inspires me.
Because I wouldn't be doing that, let me tell you.
We had the best time playing Tekken and eating Zam Zams.
Well, look, I tell you, last time I had a kebab, it was about nearly coming on for 10 years ago now, I'd say, and I was no bueno now after it. I was liquid gravy coming out of my arse after it.
Fucking gravy.
It wasn't great. No, I was like, I'm not doing kebabs again. And I fucking love a good kebab. But anyway, I digress. So we're in a kebab shop and we're in a casino. We were trying to just get good feed in us, but people were constantly pouring out of the attached casino and stopping us from ordering tasty treats. Conor McGregor was working behind the counter and wasn't actually allowing anyone to be served. Blue lips kid, yeah. Which added to our annoyance. But this was brought to an abrupt end when a team of police, all in riot gear, raided the premises and bundled us into the street. My foot was a balloon. We were stood in the street. When we looked up at the front of the kebab casino, what sort of joint venture is that, he says. When I realised the name of the place was actually Zam Zam. In huge glittering neon lights, like it was some sort of Monte Carlo brothel.
Zam Zam.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the name of a late night Irish establishment. No idea why it was called that or why you both were there. There's Synchronicity, especially as the street it was on in my dream was very much located in my native northern English city.
I love when we do and like none of this, like you would think that that's something we planted.
No.
And it's just like...
I don't actually read. I read Nikki's story, but that is an exception. Usually... and I probably should, I don't read emails. And the reason why is because I like to have a reaction on air. Yeah. So like if I see that is something kind of interesting, I'm like, right, I'll throw it in. But yeah, that's mad.
Yeah.
So says, I know you both like dreams, so maybe you can discuss exactly what it means to you. I am for one stumped. Thanks again for the great podcast. It's been an absolutely shining light in the dark for me, especially in the past few years, and it's helped me through some pretty shitty times. Glad we could be of assistance. I have a few secondhand ghosty stories to share. I need to get the details all sorted in my head, but keep an eye out for that coming soon. Great. Yeah, we'll look forward to a big bad brack. He says, hugs, kisses, and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, man.
So, I think that type of dream, I think, is an anxiety dream. And I don't know why, but if you're listening to a lot of us, that's probably why. I had a dream like this involving Kanye West one time. And I've also had it involving like other celebrities or other people. Like Kanye is definitely fallen by the wayside. But I have had in my dreams where I meet someone like that at that time I like revere or I'm really into their shit. And like you're trying to get something done with them, but something keeps getting in the way. It's like an anxiety kind of dream where it's like, no, you can't get that done. Yeah, no. It's your brain's throwing curveballs at you. I don't know why it manifests that way. Like he probably, because he listens to so much of us, like we are the representation of that happening.
Well, I wonder as well, is it some sort of defrag dream as well, where the brain is going, you don't need this, have lunch with the boys, kebabs, you don't need that. And it's like trying to break everything down and sort of almost like piss it out from the brain, I suppose.
A little bit of that, but there's definitely something more to it. I had a dream, like a good example.
Can't get the kebab, but you want the kebab. Yeah, I get you.
And you're wanting, in his dream, he's probably wanting to show us like this kebab or this casino or something. He's probably like, oh, we're in Yorkshire, I'm wanting to take you out to get a kebab or something, or show you something cool. And then you're like, it's not happening.
It's funny. Like I had a dream recently. Two dreams. I usually don't have, like I don't remember my dreams very often. But I had a dream recently, two friends of ours that we don't see much anymore.
Right.
I had a dream that they were around and then one of them I felt like I should text the next day because I was like, that's like you.
That's like, do it.
No, I didn't. But I probably should have. Someone I haven't talked to for a couple of years. You know yourself. Yeah. So, but a dream about them where we're all hanging around together seems nice. Like something that it is nice in a way, but it's also like it makes you think so. Yeah, exactly. Because
bittersweet.
Well, with this person, there's no falling out. A friend of ours basically disappeared for their own. I think probably something they needed to do for themselves, but we've had no contact. So it's a bit strange. So to have that dream was just strange. You know,
I've had nice dreams. Like, so I remember I had a dream of like my auntie who died, and we were with her in this dream, and we were all just laughing. Everyone was just in really good form, and it was just like just a simple dream where, but most importantly, she was in like really good fucking form. Like she was just like laughing at herself, really like loved the moment. And it was just so nice, like when you walk up, because it was bittersweet in a sense, because you're like, yeah, they're gone and whatever, but I looked at it as like, Jesus, it's nice to even just be able to visualize that in your head and just see her in that moment happy. Because you kind of do, like, dreams are great, for me at least anyway, of giving you like the essence of what that person is to you. It's like this is why you value this person, or that's how it feels in the dream. And it just sort of, you're just able to experience that in a moment and see them happy, and it's great. Funnily enough, though, more trivial, shall we say, I was watching a video on Reddit. I don't think I've said this on the podcast. Maybe I did last week. I'm not sure. But I was on Reddit watching. There's a video doing the rounds. I posted on our social media a year or two ago where like a bear. I don't know if you've ever seen it. A guy is like in the woods with a shotgun, and a bear charges him. And he has the shotgun like pointed at it, but the bear actually beelines off right at the last minute. Okay. And I had a fucking dream, man, where we were in the woods, me and my brother, and I had a rifle, and there was someone there, some like Cletus kind of dude, and he's like, it's over there, it's like a big moose. He's like, it's over there, it's shot, like. And I was like, for whatever reason in the stream, I was like, I don't trust this guy. I think he's, I was like, are you sure he's got, like, and he was like, yeah, no, he's got. And so I peeked around the tree with my rifle, and next thing, this fucking deer is running at me and Roy, my brother. And I'm not joking, in the dream, I lash out a kick. Obviously, it's not going to do nothing to the fucker. But I did it in real life. So on the bed, I fucking sent a big mad kick out, and I woke up like, ha! In the middle of the fucking night. I that's the first time I think I've had a dream like that, where it's like,
I did that recently as well.
You're throwing shapes.
Well, yeah, like, and Paula in the bed beside me, and like, I had a dream that I was fighting someone or something, and I let out a kick, and then I was like, Jesus, my kicks are very strong legs, a crease
yeah, that was my thinking exactly. I literally, like, it was full on boom. But it was really, real strange.
There's some people that have a thing where, like, the part of your brain that stops your body doing stuff like that, stops your body acting out your dreams, doesn't work. It's comedian Mike Birbiglia. He has to take like mad amounts of sedatives because like he's basically walked through plate glass windows in his sleep.
Yeah, my sister does that. She
really
she wakes up and in her sleep eats loads of food.
Really?
And she doesn't remember any of it. Like what was it she had? She like, it was something really funny, but she I can't remember, but like she's gotten up in the middle of the night and gone down and had like 4 custard donuts and then just went back to bed.
Just to sleep?
Yeah, like, she was saying whatever it was she ate 2,500 calories in the middle of her
like a day and change
and then just went back to sleep. Just
that
got
must
up,
be so
went
annoying
downstairs.
if you don't know you're doing that.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what I mean? You're like, how do I keep putting on weight?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know?
No, she's done it with my food before, where like I've literally gone to get something when I lived up there with her, and I'm like, where the fuck is that? And she's like, oh, I must have bet that last night.
She's just saying, like, lock the fridge, put a padlock on the fridge.
Put a padlock on the fridge, yeah. But my granddad in as well, he dreams about like fighting Koreans and war. He does be sitting up in the bed. The Koreans are coming to get me.
That's brilliant.
And it's great as well because
he was never in the Korean War.
No, but he nearly was. So because my granddad was Irish, he actually lived in England during the draft, and his dad, who fought in World War One, was like, get the fuck out of here, you're going back to Ireland, you're not fighting in that fucking Korean War bullshit anyway, son. And so maybe my granddad's like anxiety dreams about fighting Koreans. It's like, oh no.
It's like he's probably never met one in his life. No. Like, anxiety dreams about fighting Koreans. Help me, Korean Jesus.
So we've got a really kind of funny and sort of grim story that comes in. And as well, actually, by the way, before we do that, Big Bad Brack sent in another thing, and we're going to cover that in this episode. It's a Scottish legend to get us in the mood for Scotland of Sawney Bean. But first, Damon,
we're going to go with
tell us about this.
There is a remote Amazonian tribe that has finally connected to the internet, has finally taken the first step forward in technological advancement. All of the possibilities that unfold before them and expand like a great bountiful desert. But unfortunately, they have wound up getting hooked on porn and social media. So, a reclusive tribe in the Amazon finally got hooked up to the internet thanks to Elon Musk, only to be torn apart by social media and pornography addiction. Of course, like, imagine you were in a tribe and all of a sudden they were like, here's fucking Riley Reid as Wonder Woman. You'd be like, oh wow, this is class.
Yeah, it's mad. You would just probably, with great power comes great responsibility.
And this is my gift, my curse. You know,
without any sort of awareness or training or like social stigma.
Can you imagine how many, like when you first see porn as a tribesman, how many fucking pills is that like to come up on at the same time? You're a 50-year-old lad, you're Mickey's and it's fucking last days.
Yeah, no, now it's not.
And all of a sudden
now it's on its first days.
The Mickey just be back. The Mickey just be back.
No, I'd say like they're probably doing like Mortal Kombat style tournaments, and the winner gets the fucking Samsung Galaxy.
And it's like
Samsung Galaxy and a fucking subscription to Brazzers.
Man,
and like, but that's like, imagine like, because so like, how are they going to put like what way are they going to sort of prioritize this? Is it going to be a thing where like they create a scarcity of it, and they're going to like snatch up all the phones and go, no, only a couple of us can watch?
No, this is basically the end of this tribe.
Or are they going to is it going to be like socialist porn news?
No, this
or is it going to be like,
I think
the village elder is able to wank himself into a stupor all day every day, but everyone else can fuck off? But like, that's what I'm saying, is like, what power will they put on it? What value will they be like? If I'm the tribe chief, I can wank all day and use.
The funniest thing would be like he loses complete interest in all the other tribes.
It might fucking happen.
It would.
It could happen.
It would.
Because if that's thrown at you like straight away.
Can you imagine? Because we're like the age we are now. Imagine we had never seen porn ever. And I think porn probably is.
There's a lot of people that would have been our age seeing porn for the first time back in the 90s and stuff, and the early 90s.
They all lost their jobs. But even just think down to like the categories. Imagine being faced with like some of those things, like they can
be eclectic, you know.
There's 30 A's.
Yeah, you can be eclectic.
Albino. Like fucking anything you want.
You can have an eclectic taste. You can, you know.
But you see, the thing is, you're pulling back a dark curtain on your taste, because you'll just be like, oh wow, what's bukkake? And now you're into a load of lads jipping on a girl. Or like, oh, what's thou hast made a cuckold of me.
That's what I'm saying, is like it's
dangerous. Like, you need to be drip fed the old pornography so that you become immune to its glories. The older you get, you need to face real life.
You need to desensitize yourself.
You need to see hardcore porn by the age of 11 or 12. Otherwise, there's no hope for you. Comedy podcast, we don't mean what we say. Brazil's 2,000 member Marubo tribe has been left bitterly divided. The women hate it, the men dig it, imagine. By the arrival of the Tesla founder's Starlink service 9 months ago, which connected the remote rainforest community along the Itui River to the web for the first time. When it arrived, everyone was happy. Sainama Murabo, 73, told the New York. Imagine 73 and seeing porn for the first. Anyway, yeah. But next time you go up to your granddad, you just like by mistake, just by mistake. But now things have gotten worse. Young people have gotten lazy because of the internet. They're learning the ways of the white people. Gaijin. Big lazy Dambaro Gaijin. Fucking shitty white people again. I can't do it, and I'm too busy pulling the Mickey off myself. The Motherabo are a chaste tribe. Not anymore, son. Who even frown upon kissing in public. Can you imagine what it's like to get hardcore porn after being a chaste tribe? Woo! Alfredo Marubo, all Marubo use the same last name, said he is anxious that the arrival of the service, which delivers super fast internet to far-flung corners of the planet and has been billed as a game changer by Mr. Musk, could upend standards of decorum. The lads are airing porn videos in group chats, and he has already observed more aggressive sexual behavior in some of them. Immediate sexual aggression. We're worried young people are going to want to try it. He said of the kinky sex acts they've suddenly been exposed.
Well, that is a fucking valid concern, because it's 2024 and eating ass is fucking normal.
But what is it not more dangerous to have a bored mind to come up with stuff on its own? Possibly. Lads are out there in the tribe.
It's dangerous having them tribes, lads trying to
everything is dangerous. That is very dangerous. That's going to bring that number down.
That's free range arse right there.
We'll wash our arse in the poisonous river, and then everyone is so connected that sometimes they don't even talk to their own family, which is probably for the best. Initially, the internet was heralded as a positive for the remote tribe, who were able to quickly contact authorities for help with emergencies, including potentially deadly. I've wanked myself into a stupor.
But isn't it great that, like, potentially we're in a timeline now where AI destroys us all, right? So, like, the AI history books in 2,000 years will basically be like, man got the internet, late 80s, early 90s, whatever. they wanked themselves into oblivion and then we just destroyed them. That'd be like, that's the footnote.
The internet
of
knew
humanity.
what to give us.
The footnotes of humanity
Give them fantasy football and hardcore pornography.
And it's that easy.
Yeah, it is. Because we're still chained by our bestial nature and we can't get away from it.
But so we're even worse probably because I'd say chimpanzees, there's a couple of chimpanzees that have a wank watching other chimpanzees.
But they tear each other apart. We're more civilized than that, but we still have the parts of us that are just leftover monkey shit.
Yeah.
That I would credit to people who, there's people I know, and they could be bullshitting, but they don't like porn and they don't wank and they don't. I think but that's only because I might have more leftover monkey shit in me than they do. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't get me wrong,
No, I don't believe. I don't believe that. If a girl tells me that, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more likely. But if a lad tells me that, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, because it's usually under some other kind of thing. It's like, nah, man, I'm too busy shagging to watch porn. I'm too busy shagging. I get too much fanny. It's like, fuck off.
You need porn as an aperitif. You need porn to sometimes
I don't believe it. I just
but sometimes you just need a bit that's a treat for yourself.
I just thought I have friends that I can't imagine masturbating, and that's probably for the best.
Most people I think we're going to be able to see everybody masturbating soon. With they're just going to hack all our cameras and be like, there he is now, the big redhead, and I'm fucking busting
You're probably better off doing that because
who cares?
All the Nigerian scammer lads can't get you.
I will show you a stupid face as you orgasm. Sure,
we're all
our wife has to see it 3 times a week.
Sure, we're all at it.
So members are also, they're able to share educational resources, boo, with other Amazonian tribes and connect with friends and family who now live elsewhere. Boo, show me the big butsy. Still, some officials in Brazil have criticized the rollout to the remote communities, saying special cultures and customs could now be lost forever. Yeah, but that is what technology does. It destroys special customs and cultures. This is called ethnocentrism. Mrs. Dutra has said of such critiques, the white man thinking they know what's best.
Evil white man Gaijin.
Yeah, well look, I don't know if it's necessarily the white man.
Internet is
in this case it's Elon Musk, so I suppose
it's an interesting take. The reason I left that little take in there is because it's an interesting talking point of I suppose on one hand you could look at white man's inventions and us then wanting to push them on people
the one thing that
ethnocentrism.
Yeah, that's fair. And totally their tribe, we're while someone else did figure out technology, we sort of
and we're putting our thoughts on them, thinking that they need that to be happy.
Absolutely. What you're not allowed to say back to that is, do you think the black man knows best? You can't say that back because but
you could make it as a talking point, as what is best? And I suppose the answer will always lie down to it's not a racial thing. Well, it's just not a racial thing.
No, of course.
That's whatever people
now,
think.
to be fair as well, I get it because they're obviously indigenous people, so they are, dark skinned people, blah blah. Sooner or later, the wanking is coming for all of us. The porn is coming for all of us. These people are on borrowed time, one way or the other. But I do appreciate that. Maybe it would have been better not to have as much accessibility to hardcore pornography as we have, and that goes the world over. White, black, Asian, whatever color you are.
It's a joke. It's it's
too much, and you can't, to your point as well. Any lad who would say to you, I don't look at porn, you would automatically you're a liar, because that's how much the draw is. Now, not to the point, it's like alcohol or anything else. It's some people can't stop and it's a huge problem. Most people are fine. But there are then some people who I'd imagine porn will bring them down a very dark
and it can create sexual dysfunction. So
worse than that, I've heard people who get so caught up in it they wind up looking at deviant, illegal pornography and not even it's like a slow, insidious thing. Yeah. Well, which is horrible.
I mean, look, you got to stay away from it sometimes, go on, it's treated like alcohol, go on a fucking sabbatical for a month.
Do it like you're strawberry picking. You get a strawberry, you put one in the bucket, you put one in your mouth. Put one in the bucket.
One in the butt, one in the mouth.
So what it is basically
one in the butt, one somewhere else.
You have one wank and you have it on the internet. Do as thou will, right? But the next one is on the mind, and you alternate. you know? And
this will also be a good time to say that I think going forward with the video element and on YouTube, we mentioned this before we ever launched on YouTube, but this will probably be the reality of YouTube. The YouTube experience going forward is that if there is anything overtly sexual, like what we just talked about,
just this right now,
that will be cut out on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube and you're going, oh, there was an edit there, you can head on over to Patreon or just listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere like that. The reason being is YouTube have their own rules and all that shit, and we will respect them. We're not going to cry and moan and bawl.
YouTube won't allow us to debate the pros and cons of pornography, because as we all know, Google are pro-pornography. Most pro-pornography. Type into Google, see what pops up.
Well, yeah, I'm not it's just one of those things where, you know, you have to kind of do it for everything. But if you want the Monster Fuzz raw and uncut, shall we say, it's on Patreon. It's free. It's on Spotify if you want to listen to it there, because Spotify don't give a fuck what you do be doing. But then again, I don't know. Like, I actually don't know, because I do wonder about it sometimes. I'm just going to kind of think out loud here. Like, ever since our inception, every episode has had to be flagged as explicit.
Yeah,
because
there's never been an episode that wasn't explicit.
No, and so as a result, then I do wonder if that hinders our discoverability. And
probably.
And the reason, so for people that are listening, there are some people that probably feel like, well, that's bullshit that you have to say you have to do this or that. It's like, yeah, but you see, when you're running sort of a business, as Monster Fuzz is now, you do have to, being discoverable is desirable.
Yeah.
And as a result, you have to do these things at times, because otherwise you just wouldn't have Monster Fuzz. That's the reality of it. You kind of have to do these things. So I do wonder though, and it's just thinking out loud, literally since day one on every audio platform, we are explicit every single episode.
But a big part
which is an exception to a lot of podcasts.
It is, but the other thing as well is that a big part of the reason that this podcast is listenable is because we just say, just have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot of people have said to me, I like listening to it because it reminds me of being down the pub with my mates and talking shit.
Yeah,
and like there's no...
And that's the goal.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we want. Like, that's like, we don't want to be like some kind of super...
We can release like the down the pub talking with your mates, but you're all on non-alcoholic beers version, and then like...
But so that's the correct. That's the way it will have to be at times. And that's just on YouTube only. So if you do enjoy and you're on YouTube and want to head over to Patreon, do it. So here we are. We're back to Scotland. The tale of Sawney Bean, the grisly legend of Scotland. So this is quite interesting. This has some similarities to some Irish sort of things that occurred, and we'll tie that in later on as we get through the story. But this is quite interesting. So big shouts out to Big Bad Bracknell for sending it in. So, believed to be born in the late 1600s near Edinburgh, Alexander Sawney Bean's early life is obscured in historical shadows. I'm going to say it's Ban because Irish, like Bean is how it reads, but in Ireland you would say Ban. So I'm going to go with Ban for that. Dr. Louise Yeoman suggests conflicting timelines, placing him in the 15th or 17th century. Regardless, Sawney Bean is consistently portrayed as a merciless barbarian whose trade as a tanner or hedger and ditcher took a sinister turn. Retreating from society, Sawney Bean and his wife, possibly Black Agnes Douglas.
That's a fucking cool...
It is, isn't it? Sought refuge in Benan Cave. This clandestine hideaway, submerged by rising tides, allegedly harboured tunnels spanning over a mile. Here the bands birthed a monstrous brood of 14 children, laying the foundation for a gruesome family legacy. Faced with mouths to feed and no trade to sustain them, the Ban clan turned to robbery and murder. Ambushing travellers, they left a trail of dismembered bodies, eventually succumbing to the unthinkable: cannibalism. The cave became a macabre workshop, where victims were hacked, quartered and pickled. As the band's criminal activities escalated, a wave of missing persons and severed limbs washed ashore. Local innkeepers, fearing false accusations, abandoned their inns. However, the clan's reign of terror met a grisly end when a husband and wife were ambushed. The husband's bravery, coupled with a mob led by King James VI, exposed the cannibalistic family's lair. Historians cast doubt on Sawney Bean's existence, labelling it a concoction of anti-Scot propaganda. Dr. Louise Yeoman posits that the English media, aiming to denigrate Scots during political turmoil, crafted a gruesome tale to sell books, The legend of Sawney Bean, it seems, might be more fiction than fact. So what do you think of that one, Eamon? He's sort of like a cannibalistic sort of boogeyman that the English
outlaw guy.
The English would have said is Scottish.
You can kind of see how it works in both ways. You can imagine cannibals hanging out in the Highlands those days, and you can also imagine the English trying to create a barbaric image of a Scotsman.
Well, the English did that all the time, so
they love doing that.
That's why, like, and again, it's been brought up here, but like, yeah, there's cartoons of the Irish as like monkeys. They
weren't too far off, to be fair.
Yeah, of course, we're very simian, like the two of us.
Very simian, like, look at the big orangutan visage on me.
No, it would have made us out to be like monkeys and stupid, and that we lived in hovels and we slept with cows and pigs and all that fucking shite. Usual kind of propaganda. You see it nowadays in different forms, not from England but from all over the world, where they're trying to with immigrants and shit like that. Yeah, it's like once you can create an enemy or dehumanize that person or devalue them, then it's a lot easier to just do what you want with them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you have to. Like, if you're going to sort of launch an attack on peoples, you have to dehumanize. You're not going to be like, you can't be like, they're just like us, but we're going to attack them.
We're launching an attack on these beautiful and lovely people that are so intelligent and
they have the same emotions that you have, but we need to eradicate them.
Yeah, you're just not going to do that. No. So, yeah, you have to make them out to be... you know, you can see it in certain corners of the world now where apparently everyone in a certain strip is a terrorist. So they have to blow them all up, you know, all of them. Every single person is a terrorist. So it makes it easy then, you know.
They're all barbaric.
Everyone has RPGs. So
everyone's barbaric. You have to blow them all up.
So
leave no stone unturned.
So that's what it happens all around the world. You'll see it all the time. It happens when lads have WMDs in their country. Do you know what I mean? And they're hiding them WMDs. And let's blow up the population.
It happens on a smaller scale down in your town. Where lads start boxing each other. They say it the other time, he's nothing but a insert whatever you wanted there. And that is a form of dehumanization.
You see it in Dublin.
Exactly.
Junkies. People will say junkies for drug addicts. You see in any inner city environment where there's a lot of homeless people doing drugs.
But what I mean is not even inner city. Like if you have two people and one says he's nothing but a fool, or that's like the first step to that, because that allows him to treat this person differently or disrespectfully, or to start a fight with him or whatever, because he's nothing but. Yeah. That's whatever thing it is. It's just, but to your point, culturally then, we look at the likes of homeless people with drug addiction, blah 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 blah.
You dehumanize them because it's easier to rationalize in your own brain. You have to separate yourself from them.
And there probably is an element of people who are very disadvantaged, possibly are in areas that are more likely to cause trouble to try and get money or to rob you or something like that because they have nothing else. Obviously doesn't mean they're all like that, but it's due to these factors rather than if you take drugs you're automatically this or that. And there's countries like that as well that would say that, if like Singapore, if you get caught smoking a joint in Singapore, like you're fucking dead.
Like too right.
It made me nervous.
Get off the hash.
Stop. I said to Singapore, I said that made me nervous years ago, man. I wouldn't touch it.
There's a lot of people out there, maybe there's people listening that would say that, like, you know, a drug addict is a junkie, and you know, it's just, to me, another term to like dehumanize an individual and to just sort of say like they're not really valuable, like they are a junkie, and that's what that's the bracket that I've put them in.
You can't really put value on human beings because we're too complicated. You could have like the president of wherever
is a junkie,
is as valuable as a junkie in a way, because like while internally we're like, well, the planet and you need this, you need that, it's like, but on a global level no one give, like the universe doesn't give a fuck.
Like Gaddafi, Mussolini, when they met their end,
who would you rather,
they had an end worse than a junkie, really.
Well, who would you rather
spat on in the street?
You know, would
you
rather
poker up your arse?
Absolutely, but would you rather a fella who like overdoses in the street,
pour a cappuccino on your head?
Pour a cappuccino. Now, cappuccinos generally, they're not to be made with boiling hot milk. They shouldn't be. That's a bad cappuccino. But I'd imagine that one was made like that.
So they went out worse and in a more inhumane way than most junkies.
So like when you dehumanize, say for example, we're talking about the value of a human. Say of Hitler, right? Does unspeakable things. Like, he was the head of a state and he's one of the most notorious men in all of history. Is he more valuable than a lad who's shooting gear in a street in Dublin, given that what he's done was so atrocious? But on a level of who's made a difference, you would say, well, Hitler's made a difference. but the junkie was a better person.
Yeah.
But because all of that is bullshit. Like good person, bad person, this, that, it's all bollocks. Like the universe couldn't give a fuck. We're just here to live. And you really have to look at human beings like that, I think. Now, I'm still going to get pissed off if someone cuts me off in traffic and I'm going to call them like whatever.
Well, there's obviously cut-offs as well for compassion with people that are, say, really heavily addicted to drugs. And one of them is like, obviously, if they cause harm to you or anyone around you, it's like, okay, well then, you know, that's that.
You have to protect yourself.
Yeah, but like at the same time, you know, don't judge them before you get to that point, I suppose, you know, because not all of them are the same. And I think...
but also when to cross the street.
Well, what separates for a lot of people as well is education. Like you're fortunate enough to have a bit of education where someone says to you like, don't do X, don't do Y. Like if you're offered this, don't take that.
Yeah, because you have more possibilities.
Well, it's like decision making too. It's it can easily go down a path where you just make one wrong decision. And then that's the way I look at it with, say, heroin. Is like, if I ever tried heroin, like, I would say that I would be lucky to not be addicted if I tried it.
Look at these lads in the Amazon. They're addicted to pulling the balls off themselves. Like it's just, well, I mean, you know what I mean? We're all at that. As I only take a small piece of heroin in the morning, I'm fine.
We all have our vices.
But that's the thing. And you don't, like, even when we talk about heroin, and like, it's still alcohol.
Yeah, it's
fucks,
the same.
Like, but wanking fucks some lads up. Some lads, their lives are lost to pornography.
Blue Mickey.
Yeah, like,
chapped.
I would say, have a little sprinkle of whatever you want, but like, know when to fold them.
Yeah. No, so it is. It's just, it's food for thought, I suppose, that, you know, it's very easy to dehumanize people. And look, I'm not trying to sit on a high horse. I've been guilty of it, I'm sure.
But we all do it.
But
part of being human is to have that thing in you that your ego wants to put you in opposition with someone else for both reasons, to make you feel better and to make you feel worse and to make you do more. Because the ego is trying to keep you alive. The ego is like, get up, eat something, like do this, be concerned with yourself, blah, blah, blah. But I think on the big scale, when you step back, none of it really matters. All you can find out is what's important to me and how do I sort of project that out into the universe. Because I often think about the guys like serial killers and stuff like that. If they could objectively be like, this is going to make my life really complicated, I don't want to serial kill. They can't stop, like.
No.
Because
obviously rationally you'd just be like, I'm not doing
you'd be like, this is garbage, I don't want to do that. Do you know, like, that's this is going to make my life really complicated. I'll just go back to playing Tomb Raider. Which is for me, playing Tomb Raider and not killing people is class. Like, I'm super happy with that, you know. But this is it. I think it's so complicated that you just sort of have to kind of go, it'll be what it'll be.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. It's been a fun mini Fuzz, Eamon.
That's the podcast. That was a maxi Fuzz.
No, we're not. No, we're not an hour. It's it's fun as we're wrapping up now. Anyone that's meeting us in Scotland, we will see you there. Really looking forward to it. It's kind of like our little treat now, like this Wales last year and this year. It's like a nice little thing to look forward to.
I have like 3 more days of work to get through, and then we get to go on our adventure.
And it's a cool adventure. It's fun. You know, there's something being achieved, and also then we get to meet all of our lovely little listeners that are coming along with us. And we're looking forward to it. It's just a good crack as well. Like, we had a really good crack in Wales, so that's why we're doing it again, you know. And it'll be fun. So the goal is basically I'll try and vlog the whole thing as best as I can from start to finish and make it like some kind of long form big video. It's gonna be a fucking bollocks to put together, but give it a go. So we will leave it there. I am rambling, so I am Rob.
I am Eamon.
This is Mini Fuzz, over and out.